Hi, I'm Kirby Allison. I'm back here in the Piccadilly Arcade, just right off of Jermyn Street and Piccadilly Street. This, of all the shopping districts in London, has to be one of my favorite. Without question, it has the highest density of stores for the well-dressed gentleman of probably any place even in London. And it's hard to believe that after all these years of filming here in the Piccadilly Arcade, that there are still incredible stores left that we have not covered. In today's video, we have the privilege of covering one such shop, Jean Rousseau, from Paris, but here in London, making some of the most incredible watch straps for the well-dressed gentleman. So we're gonna step inside and meet with their CEO, Pascal, and if I'm lucky, maybe even have the opportunity to commission the creation of a new bespoke watch strap for my Chopard watch. So join me as we step inside in search of quality, craftsmanship, and tradition. Audrey, how are you?
Hi, very
so
nice
to finally meet you.
Yes.
And Pascal.
Nice to meet you.
Pleasure. Well, I have to say it's a real honor to kind of be here. I mean, despite all the work I've done in the Piccadilly Arcade, it's hard to believe that there's still so many incredible shops I've yet to cover. And of course, Jean Rousseau is one of those. And I have a funny story just because even though Jean Rousseau is probably one of the more recent additions to the Piccadilly Arcade, I actually first encountered Jean Rousseau 10 years back on one of my first trips to Paris.
Oh, wow.
And my wife and I both had, matching watch straps made. And
Did
so
you?
I have to admit that even though it's my first time in this shop, Piccadilly Arcade,
You already made a strap with
I've
us.
already made a few straps with Jean Rousseau.
And that's such a nice story as well, like having it matching with your wife's strap.
Well, I mean, how did Jean Rousseau get started? I mean, I first encountered the brand 10 years ago, but from what I understand, I mean, Jean Rousseau has been around, has been making watch straps for quite a long time.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, we started in 1954.
Okay, wow.
So it's a family-owned company, and we started by working with the Swiss watchmaker.
Okay.
And we are still working for them, for lots of big names in Switzerland. And we are based in Besançon because at the beginning, there was lots of luxury watchmakers at Besançon, so close to Switzerland in France. And so now the manufacturing we have is there, but we've been there for almost 70 years. That's going to be our 70th birthday next year.
Oh, really? So the Swiss were going across the border into France for their actual watch straps.
Indeed. And then we started the brand, but a bit more than 20 years ago.
Okay.
And so you've been in Paris 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It was halftime. And so we've been there. That was the first shop we had. So 21 years ago, I think, exactly. 21 years. And then we expanded and we started to open other shops to talk to our final customer, to the end user, to the people loving the watches and the straps and willing to know more about it. And us also to better understand what was the expectation from those customers and what do they want and what do they like. Yeah. And so we started Paris, then Japan, in Tokyo. We are still there. And here in London, it was a bit more than 10 years ago. Okay. In the US, in New York. Okay. And we are just, also we've started in China. Oh, wow. So in Ningbo, where we have an atelier, not a boutique yet. So we are working through retailers. Okay. But we are there also with our know-how and the craftsmanship experience.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. I mean, of course, the French kind of tradition in leather making is very rich, with all of, the fashion kind of leather goods. But watch straps to me were just kind of one of those missing links, if you will. I know that most men, take great efforts to match the leather of their belt with their shoes, but matching the leather of your watch strap to kind of what you're wearing has always been difficult if you were having to switch the watches out or the straps out yourself. But again, with the quick release, you can just simply kind of take the strap off. Definitely. And so even on this trip before I knew we were filming, I'll always travel with, put this back on there, it's still quite easy. I'll always travel with a brown strap and then kind of a strap appropriate for black shoes. So this one's navy. I'm going to have a brown and navy, and so I can switch it out, and there we go. I get, double the amount of use out of one watch.
Definitely. And then also, I think as you grow, you kind of evolve, your tastes evolve, and then with, different weather as well, you do want to have that summery look. We get a lot of customers that do come here to have just a different feel again to your watch and just to make it revival, we also get a lot of customers that have, that inherit their watches from maybe their grandmother or grandfather, and you really have that kind of sentimental also aspect to the watch. But they do at the same time want to have something that is on their own, so with a personality, and the strap is definitely a way to do so. So we do get a lot of these customers.
Yeah, well, and especially for women's wear. I mean, I've bought several. It's a beautiful watch and a very distinctive watch strap. And so, you know, for my wife, I mean, she has a few Cartier watches. You know, she'd of course love to have more. But one of the ways to increase the yield on those watches, especially for females who are a little bit more fashion-oriented than classically oriented as many men are, is to be able to quickly switch the watch strap out, and you can go from orange to red. I mean, you can really kind of play and have fun with you know, bolder colors.
Yeah, I'm definitely with Jean Rousseau because we have this specificity to have our own tannery.
Yeah.
So we are capable to make more or less whatever color you want.
Like this. So you have your own tannery.
Exactly. So which is the reason why you will see lots of colors here, but you can even have more bespoke.
Yeah.
And every month we launch new products, new finishing as well. And this is also the reason why you will see it later, but we have some now small accessories. So, and it was based with the same story that you explained before. I mean, the customers happy with their watch and their watch straps, and to say, look, I like the look and feel of the watch straps. Are you able to make something else, like a wallet or card holder or whatever, or belts? Yeah. And this is the way we started to have new accessories based with the same material that we are producing. Yeah. And so more and more you will see that our collection is expanding as well.
Yeah. And how much of the watch straps are kind of ready to wear, if you will, that you can just come in and buy something, versus how many of them are actually made to order or custom?
Well, I'll say right now it's half, because a lot of customers do like the convenience of coming within the store, having the watch straps changed right away, and we have an extensive range. We can show you, we have an extensive range of different material, colors that are ready to wear. Yeah. That's what we call our ready to wear collection. So it's very easy. We have our craftsmen on site that are able to change the strap for you. If you do want the quick release, we add it for free as well onto the watch strap. So very easy. But then we also have these, other 50% of customers that do want to have something very specific. So it can be either because of aesthetic, you can do something very easy that I did, just changing the lining underneath. You can do from very simple to very extravagant, detailing that we are capable of doing. But also sometimes it's just a matter of the watch itself, because the watch will have very specific, way of being constructed. You have fixed bars, for which you can't just change the strap. And then certain format as well that would not come onto a normal, onto a standard strap, I may say. Yeah. So these for sure will go down the route of customization, and there, the options are endless, if I may say. We have about 350 unique colors just for alligator. Material,
just for alligator.
Just for alligator.
350 just for alligator.
And then it goes back to what Pascal said earlier, in the sense that because we have our own tannery, we are capable of creating so many colors, so many different shades, and we have every season we have new addition as well. We do some hand finishes as well. Okay. So that's just that as such is such a wide arrow of possibility, just looking at the alligator. Yeah,
I know that especially for men, I mean, there's not many opportunities we have for accessorization. Right. And your watch strap is one of those where it's really one of the few pieces of jewelry a man will wear. And so I think that for many, they see it as an opportunity to be quite distinctive. I have a lot of friends that, of course, patronize Jean Rousseau, and they really enjoy kind of the unusual and interesting, because just right here we have white caiman crocodile. I mean, that's very distinctive, or even I guess lizard. I mean, what are some of the other materials that should be asking you this question?
Yeah, so material, so again, alligator, I'll say is maybe 50% of what we do, again, because of the variety of colors, but also because I guess gentlemen are used to have alligator, because normally the watch do come in alligator. But then if we stay within the exotic word, we have lizard. Okay. That is, you mentioned, like feminine watches. And that when you have a very narrow watch, that adds, some very nice detail to the strap. Then we have ostrich. That's, it's something that comes back quite strongly for men and also for ladies as well. But for men, that's a very big trend that we see coming back. And then exotic, I mean, we have so many. We have Stingray. This again look, you know, a little bit more as a jewelry maybe. And then that's all about skin. Then of course we have calf. You know, calf is a staple. We have different way of treating the calf. So we can do embossed. We can do so many different grain as well. And this we do them in our in-house tannery as well, just to give you know this different feel and touch to it. Vintage is also really back. So we have a lot of vintage towards the calf as well.
Okay. And vegan material as well?
Yeah, and then vegan is a growing for us category as well.
Like pineapple.
Pineapple.
Oh, really?
One of the most famous, certainly.
Vegan, pineapple, vegan watch strap?
Yeah.
Pineapple, yes. So it's
made. Also have a rubber. Bee material as well. You can have a rubber lining plus alligator on top of it. So you can have a mix of the comfort of the rubber and the look and feel of the alligator. Yeah. So you can have plenty of combination actually.
Yeah. Well, it really is. I mean, it's you know, genuinely a candy store in here with endless possibilities. And so, you know, I was thinking this is, you know, one of my favorite watches. It's probably my primary timepiece. It's a vintage, you know, 1990 Chopard perpetual calendar gift on my 30th birthday from my wife. And so, you know, I have this nice navy crocodile watch strap.
From Jean Rousseau.
From Jean Rousseau, of course. And I was thinking, and I have a brown lizard as well.
Okay.
And then a black one that maybe needs to be replaced because that probably was the first. So I was thinking, you know, maybe kind of use this opportunity to commission one or two new watch straps.
Of course.
Probably replace the black one and then maybe go for something
a little bit
more interesting.
Yes,
so,
and I think that'd be probably a nice way of looking of all of the area that you can have the strap being made and go really down that custom route. I think it's very interesting. And honestly, I may warn you, when you start down that route, we're going to see you back, I'm sure.
It's a rabbit hole.
It becomes very addictive, honestly.
And then with the leather accessories, I mean, then being able to match, you know, watch straps to leather accessories.
Exactly. You start with a watch strap, then you make a card holder. And here again, we can personalize if you like, you know, we have so many different requests depending on everyone's lifestyle. And that's really our goal to, you know, fit everyone's lifestyle and to accommodate as much as we can. And again, we are a craftsman company, so we are capable of doing all of that.
Yeah. Well, and we didn't touch on this actually, which, you know, is an important point is, you know, for the custom or bespoke watch straps and other accessories, you know, where are those being made? Are they being sent back to the factory in France and being done by the team there? Or is it something that, you know, say in London, you're able to make?
So both. Basically, the answer is both. So most of our craftsmen are actually at the corporate office. So that's where we have about 100, if I'm not wrong, 150 craftsmen on site that are making, you know, strap on a daily basis, mostly strap, but of course, small leather goods. And here in London, same as our different boutique ateliers. So the concept of a boutique atelier is that we have our store here, as we mentioned, we stock, we have different samples, but also we have our craftsmen that are here on site that are guiding our customer through the experience, but also are the one making some of the straps. So here in London, we have a you know, full team of craftsmen. They are full craftsmen on site. And then we have the same in Paris, in New York, and in Japan as well. So basically really going to depend the way, you know, the strap is going to be made and the particularity of the strap as well. Some straps are very, very specific and are really into custom. So we rather have the craftsmen who talk to the person making the actual piece. It makes a lot of sense. But also we go more into services in the sense that, you know, if you're here traveling, and if you want to have a strap made for, you know, like 3 days later before catching your flight, that's also something that we can accommodate because we have our craftsmen on site.
Yeah. And then of course, you know, as you mentioned earlier, you even have the ready to wear stuff that, you know, you can walk in and if you have a standard kind of watch size, you can actually, you know, get something walk out probably in 10 or 15 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we try and make sure you don't see the difference whenever, wherever the strap is manufactured. Because we have our own craft people trained in France. So even the Japanese guy, at a certain moment in time, they come in France for the training and they can come back for training again. So to make sure we have exactly the same way of working everywhere. And all the materials are coming from France and from the manufacturer.
Yeah.
So even the glue, I mean, there is no local purchasing.
Okay.
We make sure that we use the same processes, the same materials everywhere in the world.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's an incredible product, and as I can certainly testify. Well, that's amazing. Well, I think, it'd be fun to kind of take a look at some swatches. And
of course.
You've got beautiful things hanging, but I imagine that's the tip of the iceberg.
Exactly. We have a lot of skins, a lot of different material to show you. We really want to have you exploring it. So I'm going to grab our store manager, who was also trained as a craftsman, and that really has that eye. So he's going to be able to guide you through that process.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you. Pascal, pleasure to meet you.
Thank you, it was a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you for everything that you do, of course, supporting quality, craftsmanship, and tradition.
And thank you for your help also to communicate our brand. Thanks.
Yeah. Look at this. I mean, this is the candy store. I don't even know where I start.
It's an overwhelming amount of choice, indeed.
Yeah, I mean, really.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is literally what we talked about earlier. The fact that we have our own tannery allows us to make all of these different colors. So you have some shiny alligator, and then if you go down, you have some matte.
I'm happy my wife's not here. I mean, she could have 25 of these made. Today. Wow. So really, every single
and then
color
we have some
imaginable.
Yeah, I think we have over more than 120 colors, which Jean Rousseau control, which other boutiques can't really offer, which is a beauty in itself for us.
And I mean, again, it's the same quality watch strap, if not maybe even higher quality than what you'd find from even the Swiss luxury brands, because you're the ones making their watch straps.
Definitely, yes.
So talk to me about these. I mean, these are really unique, kind of interesting, almost patinas.
They are. That's what they call their special alligator, special finish alligator. So the skins that we receive from the actual tannery itself come in a nude color. And then the colors applied, Jean Rousseau applied the color to the skin itself with a base color.
Wow.
And with some of the swatches you see there, we have some in-between scales of a different color. So once the base color is applied, then the second color will be applied and wiped away before it's dried.
Wow.
Which allows the second color to seep into the interscale, so you get that special effect. And something like that is taken from what we call the graffiti range, which is literally inspired by graffiti art, which is why there's multiple colors in there.
Yeah. That's interesting. And then here we have the other skin. So this would be
the lizard that we talked about. Yeah, and the same with lizard. You have a lot of different shades to it. The interscale. Then we have going on to what we talked about again.
Ostrich.
Then, and then we have the stingray also. So yeah, we have a lot of different.
Do you
options.
see men doing stingray watch straps?
On the odd occasion, yeah.
On big watches like Panerai, for example.
Yeah. Stingray is quite it's quite an indulgence because it's our highest priced item.
Oh, is it really?
It's very laborious to work with.
It's very thick.
And so a client is very it's an acquired taste for one, I think, and number two, because of the price point, I think, it's mostly from the watch collectors who tend to go for the Stingray itself.
Yeah, what's a fascinating material.
I think, as you said, when you go onto your 5th, 6th watch strap, then you get into the Stingray.
Well, and every watch, I guess, probably calls for a different strap. So let's think about this. So this is my baby, my show part. I've got a beautiful navy strap, which Jean Rousseau made. I've got black, which could probably use to be replaced. I've got a brown, but not a brown crocodile.
Right.
And so I don't know, steer me through. There was a really beautiful, almost kind of burgundy, dark brown crocodile, maybe something black just to replace the old one.
Sure.
I don't know.
Can I just measure the watch for you first?
They do wear out, right?
Definitely.
And as you sweat through them.
We normally have a look at the watch itself and then see what you have within the watch frame, and that's how we're gonna guide you through different colors.
Okay.
As you said, you can go back to your black strap, definitely we can do that and have it replaced. But then I'm thinking that with, something like that, it'd be more adventurous, maybe to go to something a little bit more daring, if I may say. So these are ready-made straps that we talked about earlier. So is that correct? So you measure the watch, right?
Yeah, so what we have is a 1816 here, so 80 millimeters referring to the watch lug.
Okay.
Tapering down to 60 millimeters by the buckle.
Okay.
So Jean Rousseau do make stock straps to fit watches that you can pick off the shelf straight away if it's compatible.
What about the brown one right there? I mean, it's almost like a burgundy.
Yeah, it's this one's been finished with the varnish, which gives it a high shine. So you call it paint and alligator. It's the same color, but you'll see there's two different profiles there. One is of a 5 millimeter thickness, and the other one to the right there is 3.5 mil thick.
Yeah.
These are two factory standards that we have. So that some people may have really thin, classy watches. Some people may have something more robust and quite heavy. So the 5 mil really suits that type of watch.
Yeah, the 5 mil is nice. I don't think it would work for this.
No, I think the
watch.
watch, it's even though it has a deep watch case, it's still elegant. And I think this would really...
Again, Jean Rousseau, I can just clip this off.
We release, yeah, definitely.
And we can actually kind of see what this looks like. Yeah, I mean, I like that. That's something I don't have.
Yeah.
I mean, these are all really nice. I mean, this is similar, but as satin finish. And then this green, I mean, even if you had a slightly darker kind of green alligator.
A green is always a good choice to go with gold. It always works really well if we're looking at these samples here, like a shiny green, emerald green. It's something that goes really well with it. But what I thought about will be maybe to go for something a little bit more sophisticated, but then at the same time, how can I say, discreet luxury.
Okay.
So then we
It's only because you're saying this in a French accent that you have me, you know. It's like, okay, well, since you said it in French, yeah.
So we have this nubuck that I thought about maybe for you. So this is actually like a very different finish. That's something that we make in-house as well.
Really?
And then what I love about it is that the fact that it's very discreet, but then at the same time you have that amazing feel, and then that's kind of very different texture that look again towards that very discreet, but being yet elegant at the same time.
So I've seen a few makers, you know, bespoke shoemakers doing shoes out of the sueded crocodile, but I don't think I've ever seen a watch strap done.
Right? It's very unusual, which is a shame because I think it's such an amazing material again, and I think it would really complement your watch.
Okay, well.
So we have them in different shades.
Yeah. You know, it's like, or should I say, you got me there. And what's interesting is here we show this. It's effectively the same strap, right? It's kind of an interesting coincidence, right? Where this is that and a satin finished traditional crocodile, right? But then right next to it is probably, you know, that same thing, but with that sueded nubuck kind of finish, and it is different.
Definitely. It really has that different feeling. And then it can be worn as something very casual, but then again, because it's very refined, you can wear it in very different occasions. So yeah, I think for you, I really see that as an interesting match.
Yeah. What do you think about also like a black and sueded nubuck?
I'm not
or is
sure.
that too, is it?
I'm not sure I'll go for the black. We have different colors. So you have the black, the navy. We also have
even this right here is a little bit different of a navy than the one.
Again, it's just because of the finish. You know, the finish, even for same shade, depending on the finish you're gonna go, the end result is gonna be very different. So here, as you said, a similar color on a different finish, you really have a different aesthetic. But then I was thinking maybe a suede for that.
Even this one. Look at that.
You know,
It's beautiful.
Again, very classic.
It's pretty good, I must say. Look at me, I mean. But this is why you come to a place like Jean Rousseau, is for the unusual and exciting, right?
Definitely. I think you should go into...
let's push the boundaries a little bit, I suppose.
A little bit, yeah.
I think customers can come in and have quite a conservative choice, which is fine.
Yeah.
It works well. They know they wear their watch during the evening or it's just formally during a work day. But, you know, the part of coming in here is to understand what we can offer you. So as well as having, you know, a blue alligator or brown, instead of having a tone-on-tone colored stitching, you could have a contrast colored stitching as well.
Okay.
So that sort of changes it up a little bit. You can still be sophisticated.
And you can still be a little bit subtle. Like I think in some of my bespoke Charvet shirts, I mean, I do white with white monogramming on my white shirts, right? So that's not very, should
On
we
the
say,
cuff?
exciting. No, it's always right here,
Okay.
kind of
Interesting.
on the waist, or on the kind of, I don't know what you'd call this, but right here, kind of in the chest.
Yeah.
But on my blue shirts and some of the other colors, it's fun to just kind of play around with a slightly offset tone.
Yeah.
It is. I mean,
And it is a touch of sophistication, yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
It does, and normally, I mean, for some of our customers that don't want to go for something too contrasted, what you can do is that you can do one tone down or
Yeah.
one tone
Yeah.
up, which will, as you said, you have that kind of discrete but slightly difference that gives definition to your watch
It's
strap.
that bespoke touch.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, you could go red, or you could go with a slightly different blue.
Yeah, we
right?
also have looking at the threads. So we have all of these here. And then again, if we look at blue, we have a lot of different blues. But then if you want to go for something very daring, which some of our customers do, you can go for neon thread as well,
I mean, I would imagine, your female customers are probably generally more bold than your male customers.
A little bit more, to be honest.
know.
Yeah, a little bit more.
They get away with more, I'd say.
They get away with
but
more,
we,
yes.
We do get some eccentric males coming in here.
Yeah, I'm sure
and I
you
was
see
like
both
that.
ends of the
Yeah.
spectrum.
So,
Well, I like this idea. I mean, this is, again, not where I would go,
Yeah.
initially, but I mean, that's part of the fun of the bespoke process is that conversation you have with the person from whom you're commissioning the piece. I mean, they're the experts that see so much, is to kind of defer to them a little bit to nudge you.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting point because, saying that you could have red, I mean, you totally could. You wouldn't think about that looking at the color of the skin.
It would look nice. Yeah.
But if you're trying to pick up a color from the watch, for example, whether it be an hour hand or maybe the numerals or the half moon, then you can complement that with the color of the thread. And it's just something else to think about as opposed to just thinking, well, this is blue, I'm going to stick with blue.
Yeah.
You're not taking your eye away from the watch. You're just making it work in harmony with it. So
what would you do with something like this then?
well, that being said, I can show you these two threads here. We have platinum thread,
Platinum.
which is genuine platinum thread.
Really?
And also 18 karat gold thread
No
as
kidding.
well.
18 karat gold thread.
It's a very wiry, stringy thread to work with if you want to have a feel of that.
Wow.
And it's a rose gold, actually.
Really? Oh, well, that's a...
So that could complement your watch case quite nicely as opposed to
18
something
karat.
inside of the
Wow,
dial.
Look at that.
And
That's amazing. French, I see.
And
as
these,
well.
and these are very delicate as well. So they are only hand stitched by our craftsmen, hand sewn to the strap. But you see how much depth it gives again to the skin, and then it brings back the contrast that you have in the interscale, and it feels like it makes the piece really complete and together.
And I would imagine that also in the light, it probably picks the light up as well.
Exactly, but it's not something you never go into something shiny, so it doesn't. You never go into something tacky, but it gets really, really refined.
subtle.
I have maybe an example.
yeah, so here's an example of blue alligator
wow,
with rose
look at
gold
that.
stitching.
So that is quite distinctive.
Definitely.
Wow, look at that.
And light gray with platinum.
That light gray with platinum, that is...
It's not so obvious, but as you said, when the light hits it right, you do get a twinkle and a sort of shimmer.
And you know it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So just to add to those as well as an example, something as bright as yellow can also work well with the rose gold stitching as well.
Wouldn't work for me, but I mean, again,
Well, you might have some yellow alligator shoes.
Yes,
you want to match with. So.
I know just who to call for that. Yeah, that's great. I mean, this I think speaks to just the incredible breadth of customization. I mean, this is truly bespoke, kind of in the truest sense, in that you could create anything. And so, of course, you guys have the ready-to-wear watch straps. And if you want to come in and get something, classic like this beautiful dark brown, which I have to say I really like as well.
Yeah, and then
but you could go, as far out as Nick Vaux would say as you wanted to.
Of course. And then we can reuse your original buckle as well. So then we'll make everything to fit onto the watch and ready to go.
Yeah. Well, I think with the buckles, I mean, you can choose, I would imagine, the hardware of the buckles. Not the hardware, but the color, the finish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have this stainless steel high polish finish, and then there's also a gold finishing as well here.
Well, that's
with JR engraving.
On this one that you guys did years ago for me, right? We did a gold buckle, and I think that I didn't use the original buckle because I like to be able to just, not have to worry about
Changing the buckle.
just literally be able to swap these things out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have a Jean
And the
Rousseau,
buckle's
there you
not
go.
super distinctive on this watch to begin with. So, I'm not losing anything.
No.
Well, this gets to decision moments.
Decision. Okay, I'm going to add an extra one for you. But I think, as we speak,
Okay.
that it might be a very good fit. Let me remove these.
Let me help you with that.
And then I was thinking, since you seem to like the suede option,
You're not going to get me out of here. This is.
I think that's my no. But then I thought again, gold and green is always a very good match together. And then I thought about that skin, and you see how deep that skin is. You have the interscale as well, which is much darker black. That kind of reminds the inside of your watch case, and I think it really complements the watch. What do you think?
You were planning this. That's pretty amazing, I must say.
Yeah. And again, the idea, we have so many resources, so many different skins, so many different color. And what I love is, like picturing that essence from the customer and finding the perfect match, for the watch and makes it unique, basically.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
Absolutely.
That's pretty astounding. And again, the beauty is that because you've got the quick release mechanism, you're not married to this, right? If you're not in the mood for this one day, then guess what? Switch it out with something slightly more demure. And then, if you're feeling bold and adventurous, then, here we go.
Well, it saves you buying so many different watches. You can change the look of your watch with the strap.
Yeah, well, that's why I was very eager to do this for my wife.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
He said we could focus on the watch straps and not the timepieces themselves. In this day and age, with how watch prices have gone, you really want to get as much use out of a watch as possible, and why not, right?
Definitely.
When it's as simple as switching the watch strap off, so approachable, right? You spend all this money on a watch, right? And then for a few $100s, you can just give it as many personalities as you want.
Exactly.
To me, is money well spent.
Yeah, definitely. I'm on you on that one. Should we go down to the custom route and
I think so. Definitely for this.
That one is set.
And then we could juxtapose maybe with something slightly more traditional. Maybe we go for two.
Yeah, of course.
What type of stitching would we do on this? I guess is that the next conversation?
Stitching. Stitching is next. What do we? That's definitely an option if you want to go through that.
But would you do this with yellow gold?
I wouldn't. I was just showing, to see how the thread come through, but I wouldn't for sure. I'll go for this one if I had to. To choose, and you see how again it complements the skin, and that's what I love about it when you put everything together and it kind of wax. It makes a lot of sense.
And just to add to the wear factor as well, Kirby, it's you can also choose the lining as well, which is for the underside of the strap. Okay. So here, what's sitting against your skin, we have a very generic beige color to have, but if you actually wanted to have your strap lined with the same color alligator, you could also do that as well, or go for something completely contrasting.
I don't know.
What I have myself is that I have the blue underneath, which, again, is just for yourself when you remove your watch. And I think for that one, either, green and blue is always a good combination together, or you can do gray as well. Again, when you go down that route, and that's fully customizable, but also it's free of charge. So, why not doing it?
I kind of like, what color is that?
It's black.
Maybe the navy.
Navy, yeah. Navy and green is definitely, a good option together. Yeah. And again, it's inside.
Since we're doing something quite distinctive here, right? What did we decide on the thread? Should I just go for it and just do the gold thread?
If you're happy to part with your hard-earned money,
yes, I know. Well, it's certainly increasingly difficult during these days, it seems like. But,
I know.
I think you should. If you were not to do that, I either go ivory. Ivory is also a good option with the green. But if I were you, going down that route, have your very interesting and unique piece, I'd rather go, for the full package.
I'm being romanced into it here. Let's do it. Why not?
Yeah.
I think, let's push the boundaries a little bit and kind of see how this turns out. This is, I guess, where you have fun is
definitely
in the, allowing yourself to be maybe pushed outside your comfort zone. And this would certainly never be something that I probably would do initially, but I think that now that we've spoken about it, I'm convinced.
I think it's an excellent choice.
Yeah.
You
And
seem
then
to look
again,
after your straps.
you know,
So
and again,
it's
I
gonna last
enjoy
you.
the navy. I mean, which at that time seemed groundbreaking. You know. Okay. Wow. Well, and what's next then? So
may I go ahead and measure the watch?
please.
And I just have a few questions for you as well. The strap that's on here currently, are you happy with the length of that? Mm-hmm. That works for you?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Excellent.
And I guess it's a good point. Like if you are a gentleman that maybe has thick wrists and you have trouble finding watch straps that fit,
Definitely.
then you could have something made large. Or if you had, really small wrists, especially like some ladies, I would imagine, have really dainty wrists, can have a watch strap made so that it's not, too long.
Exactly, because I think there is nothing worth when you have a very nice watch than when your watch strap is going all the way through.
Up. Yeah.
Exactly. Then it looks, it doesn't look very good.
It's kind of like a pair of, shirt cuffs that are too long. I mean, if your sleeves are too long, it drives me crazy. But it's one of those small little things that will bother you all day.
Yeah, and that you see as well. And especially when you own, timepieces that is very dear to you. And then, you need to have the whole thing that, fits really well onto your wrist.
My wife went over there. I also picked her up some of the little wristbands.
Bangle.
The bangles, yeah.
Bangle. Of course, we have some. So that's also, again, because we have our own material, we are able to fashion a lot of different product. And
Wow, look at these.
And you can have them coordinated with your watch strap or just complementary, the watch strap that you are wearing. Yeah, this is stingray and
I'm always looking for kind of interesting gifts, for my wife, as I travel to help offset, the deficits of me being away so much. So
that's definitely an interesting one.
The challenge is although we have a very similar aesthetic, a lot of the places I spend time with here in London, are all catering to just male clientele. So it's, the opportunity to kind of, to commingle those two things, I try not to pass by. Wow, this is really nice too. She might really
the stingray is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and pink. I mean, again, when have I ever seen that?
Yeah.
So what other customizations? So we're going through the length, right, which we spoke about, the width, the stitching detail, the lining. You also said kind of the thickness or the padding.
Yes.
And that's probably slightly more determined, by the watch itself than just preference.
Exactly. And we normally guide our customer through that, basically, depending on the watch case itself. You can decide, on my watch, I made it pretty flat, but you can decide on, adding some padding or, perfect, you have different examples.
So this is the profiles of the straps. So as we said before, for something quite thick and heavy, the 5mm straps would be suitable. But again, as you're having something custom, it could be 6mm thick if you wanted it to be.
Yeah, I like a little bit of padding because it gives definition to the watch. But I think like what you said earlier, that particular watch probably couldn't handle, too much.
Yeah, I think something like this would probably be too delicate. It has a nice minimal look because there is no stitching, but as we are having stitching, I think that this would probably feel a bit flimsy for the weight of the watch. So if he was to lean towards something like this, I think this has a really nice profile to it. It has a nice subtle convex sort of padding. It's not too thick or too thin.
And how much is this? This is 5?
This is 3.5. Yeah, this is 3.5.
3.5 is really our go-to thickness because it fits a lot of different watches and it's just a very convenient thickness.
Yeah. Okay, let's try that.
Yeah.
And then this would be, what's this one right here? So if that's 3.5, then this is?
That's going to be, I can double check that. That'll probably be a 5mm thick. Yeah. So this is another factory standard, which is 5mm thick. And another thing to just bear in mind is, of course, it's not 5mm all the way through the strap. It sort of degresses and becomes thinner, so it's more maneuverable.
Yeah, I think I'd probably go for the 3.
The 3.5?
Yeah. Okay, great.
You can also consider the tip as well, whether you'd like to have something quite pointed or something squared off or something
probably just
round.
Stay with traditional on this. And
I think it suits the watch to be honest with you.
Gold buckle to match the hardware of the watch itself.
And then certain watches will be, here you have a pretty standard watch, if I may say, in terms of construction with the strap.
Yeah.
But then certain watches would then need to have a specific strap being made for it. So then in that case, of course, we have all of the options that go with, you know, when you have an insert, when you have fixed bars, when you have a deployment clasp as well. So we have all of these constructions that are available for the watch. And here we have our qualified craftsmen that are here on site, you know, to help of taking those orders, making sure that the strap that we manufacture will be a perfect match onto the watch itself.
There's one final detail.
Okay.
There are a number of things that does go into a watch strap, but the final thing, I think, if I'm not wrong, is to have embossing on the back of the strap.
Yeah.
So you could have your initials KA, or we also offer laser engraving as well, which we've added a machine to this boutique, which is a great addition to part of our tools.
Yes, on in-house.
You could provide us with a PDF of an image, whether it be a portrait of yourself and your wife, or maybe your favorite car,
kids.
or a famous saying.
Well, I've got just the idea. I've got a logo that I'll send you.
Okay, excellent.
Nice.
Yeah.
Shall I
Because
show
that
you
allows a little bit more resolution than just the embossing, right? In terms
Yeah.
of the detail that you can get.
It's very refined, There's a lot that can go into it. I can show you something very quickly if you like.
Sure.
So with the monogramming here, we have the choices of laser engraving.
Wow.
And this is where you can provide us with an image that you'd love to have on the back, or even a favorite quote of someone famous, or your inspiration, if you like.
Yeah, that's a lot of detail.
Maybe a significant date as well. And something very more basic and straightforward, but also having initials on the back with different types of foil finishes, whether it be a shine or a matte finish as well. So
It's a lot of choice.
it adds a little touch.
Yeah.
Especially if you go for darker lining as you picked, I think the foil will make a big difference, because then you can just have the embossed, but then having the foil will make it stand out.
Yeah. And does that foil wear off, like, as you have the watch strap, just because?
So it's the way that it's embossed is with heat as well.
Yeah.
So the impression of the letters will always remain there for as long as the strap lasts. But the foil, yes, it does deteriorate over time naturally.
Yeah. Well, let's try the laser engraving.
Yeah.
Try that. I'll send you my logo.
I think it would be
The
great.
cannon.
Yeah.
I have a little
Perfect.
Wellington cannon.
Amazing.
Yeah.
If it has
So-
some intricate details in there, as you can see, it will definitely pick that up. I mean, you have that dragon there with the scales. So if you have something like that, then I think it would be a nice finishing.
Great. Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll leave that. This has been so much fun. And I guess now I'll leave it in your hands. And
Absolutely.
It's sent upstairs.
Yep.
And this is all, will all be done here?
Yeah, all set. And then whenever the straps come back, we'll make it to, we'll fit it onto your watch. And then also something we haven't decided is the holes where you wear it, but we'll do that when the straps come in. So then we'll make, precise hole for you.
Okay. Excellent.
Perfect.
Yes. Audrey, thank you so much.
you,
This has
thank
been
you
such a
again.
pleasure.
Yes.
Thanks very much,
Thank
Kirby.
you.
Pleasure.
And this has been really exciting. Yeah. Wow.
And we'll see you again with the strap
Yeah.
then.